Hey, this is Tilak. Welcome back to our fast formula tutorial. Today, we are going to look at participation and rate eligibility fast formula, a benefit eligibility fast formula, and how this fast formula used in GSP. This fast formula, as we know, seeded by benefit, it belongs to benefit. This is used by GSP or any other CWP product as part of eligibility profile. CWP or TACS, GSP or salary, they don't use this formula directly. But this formula will be used by CWP product when you are attaching this past formula as a part of the eligibility profile. So the GSP is called the eligibility profile in the benefit, and the benefit calls that first formula. Okay, that's how it works. Now, what are you seeing in the screen is the context which is supported by the benefit eligibility, participation rate eligibility first formula. If you see that, it has got a person ID, and that I believe it has got a person ID, and if you look at that, it has got a HR assignment ID, effective date, and the payroll assignment ID, payroll ID, everything is there. The missing part is grade ID. Okay, this fast formula type does not support grade ID. So anything related to grade, we cannot use the DBA. That that uses the grade ID as a context. Now let's see what is that input values are there for the GSP eligibility formula. It supports ladder ID, start date, and end date. Okay, start date, end date basically used. There's an option where that GSP process is evaluated for a period. That's the case, is a start date, end date. Otherwise, the effective date became a start date and end date. So the start date, end date, most of the cases, the start date and end date is the same. That is the effective date. Okay, this fast formula type is no different than a person selection. Both are basically supporting only the ladder ID. The only difference is the person selection fast formula supports the grade ID as a context. This formula does not even support that. Okay, there's one more difference is that it belongs to a rate eligibility formula that uses a variable. Okay, when you are looking at the person, the last time when we looked at the person selection formula, there you can select you can set any variable. The only the condition is the input that output value is supposed to be Y or N. The variable, there's no condition on variable. Any variable can be passed. But when you are coming to the rate eligibility, the variable is mandated. That is supposed to be eligible in capital. Exactly the same there. It's in the uppercase. Okay. If you are passing any other variable, it behaves differently. Okay, so make sure you are passing the variable eligible. Okay. Now, what we do, what kind of a condition we are going to use? We are going to use the same conditions, whatever we used in the person selection formula. The same thing we are going to do that. But this time we are going to use it in the person selection, eligibility formula. Okay. Now the why that there is a C is in blue. Okay. Since the grade ID is not supported as a context, we cannot access the ceiling ID. So we are going to write the fast formula, but it is not a very direct way. It is kind of a workaround way. So what I am going to do here is I'm going to write the A and B in one formula. Or in this session, I'll show you how to write the A and B. And the next session, the same formula, I'll use it. I'm going to extend the formula to validate the ceiling ID. Okay, that's the reason I'm putting that into the Blue. Okay, now we can have a sequence since it is the effective date, HR assignment date is a context. We can use the. Let me make it bigger. Okay, we can use the effective date and the HR assignment date. We can have it. Okay, and what is that? Ceiling sub ID is since it's use the grade ID, we cannot use it directly. So we will look at that into the second session of that participation rate eligibility tutorial. Okay. Yeah, the per grade step name we can use it because that is depend on HR assignment ID. So we can use that. Let's get into write the first part of the formula.
As usual, we start from compensation. I mean, we navigate to the first formula from compensation. We'll go to the end in the common configuration. There's a first formula. We click the first formula. Okay, we are going to create the first formula. I'll give the name GSP participation age. Okay, that is the name I'm giving it. Type is participation rate and eligibility. I think participation rate and eligibility. That's a type we are using it. We are not going to use the LDG, legislative data group. The date is, I always put 2000. Okay, I'm continuing it. Okay, as usual, my comments, name, I'm just copying it, pasting it. Type, oh, I'm putting that. So function, the function is exclude the people who are in, exclude the people who are in step 5 or above, and exclude the people who are in probation. Probation. That is our functionality. Okay. So I just make sure it is there. Okay. Now what I do? I declare the database items. That's the first thing we do always. What we do is default. Okay, anyway, I just copy and paste from the previous formula because already we discussed that in a person selection. So I just copy and paste. I'll explain you, but okay. Now we are taking a per grade step name by defaulting a space, per grade step sequence, like since a number we are defaulting -1, and the probation day, end date. That is basically defaulting to 1900. Since it's a single value, we are using a default for. This is a 3 database item we are going to use it. Okay. And we are also going to use the input value. That is also I'm copying and pasting it. Okay. IV grade ladder name and the name and the ID. Nothing else we have it. That's the 2 things we have. Okay, we can also use the end date, start date, end date. Since it is there, we'll use that too. Okay, which is basically which is not supported by the previous formula. Sorry, I mean the person selection we didn't use it, but here we are using the start date and end date. Okay, so I have command. Since this is a date, I'm putting a date. So number is I'm putting a number. Text is a string I'm putting as a text, and the date is our date. Okay, these are the things we are using it. Okay, the input is there. Now what we do here is we write a log for entering. Okay, L data. As I said, you can use any variable. It is my style of using L data, but you can use any variable. set lock. That's what we are using it. Here the set lock, you can write ESS right lock. I think this right, you can use it, but set lock is a kind of an alternate to that. You can use that too. Since this formula cannot be tested, the functionality is not available. You can use either one. I have no problem. Since I'm using it everywhere, set lock, I am using it, but you can also write the ESS right lock. Okay, entering part eligibility. Okay, that's it. Okay, eligible. I'm declaring the variable. By default, I'm giving it y. Return. Sorry. So I also have a return the variable I'm having it. So I also got the return statement. Now I am also putting that one more. Leaving and have that. Oh, sorry. Leaving eligible. So now I have that last statement also. Got that. Okay, I'm just saving it. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write the functionality, the validation. I'm going to write that. Okay. Now what we do? We get that date. Okay. Date get context effective date. Okay, I'm copying it, pasting it from here as a default value. Okay, I got the date. Now I can also get the assignment ID. Why not? Okay, assignment ID. Okay, get HR assignment ID. I think it is called HR assignment ID. HR assignment ID. Okay, so since it's a number, I'm going to say -1 as a default value. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them into the effective date. Assignment ID. Assignment ID. So since there is a date, I put to care e date. Okay. So this is, since it's a number, I say to care sg ID. Okay. I got the assignment ID. Now I am also going to log the profession date. Okay. Log the profession date and the grade sequence number as well as the grade name, L data. Okay, I write everything. I'll copy everything from whatever we did that. Okay. So I'm going to log a lot of information. Okay. 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 That is also writing the provision period is okay. Let me make it bigger. So now provision end date is written. Create step name is there. Create step name is there. Per grade step. Okay, step sequence is there. Step name is there. Grade ladder ID, grade ladder name, period start date, period end date, and that we already did that. So we got all the input value as well as the DBAs we logged into this one. Now we are validating it. We are telling that if the per crate step sequence is greater than or equal to 5, okay, say if per crate sequence is greater than or equal to 5, then eligible became no. Okay, eligible became no. Okay, now what are we going to do here? We are going to put a else condition. Last time we had a different validation. It's a little different, but it's the same logic. Okay, else what? Okay, crate sequence is not there. So now we are going to do the second validation. The second validation says that what it says. Okay, the probation period is end date is probation period end date is the effective date. Okay, that is what we are going to do that. Okay, so probation end date is greater than equal to, okay, if probation end date is greater than equal to e date. Okay, e date, then okay, it's very simple. So we did the first validation. If the grade step name is equal to 5, is it eligible? No. Okay, if it is not, then we are doing the second validation. First time it is less than that, so we don't have to. No, this is wrong. Eligible. Yeah, if it is, that's right. Okay, if it is eligible, then we are also validating the second one. Okay, the first time it is eligible, we are validating. That is fine. Okay, now we can write here also what is the reason is why that whether the first validation is true or second validation is true. You can write here, so you know that, like, which validation makes him false. But by looking at this all this data, you know that what made him false. So we don't have to write again. If you want to do that, feel free to write. The more log you are writing when you are writing the first formula, that's good. So the lesser problem. Once you are comfortable with everything, you tested everything, then basically just all you can do there is just you can put a, like, just put a comment. That's it. If you are putting that, then like the problem is solved. You can do that. Okay, let me save that. Save. First time you have to submit your compare. Second time you don't need to submit all the time. Okay, refresh. I hope it goes through. Most of the time I never get it first time right. Okay, 14 eligible is, so 14 inputs are CMP, ADD study, 43. I don't see anything wrong there. Okay, let me come back and let me see, starting with GSP. GSP participation eligibility. Okay, correct. I don't see any problem there. CMP IV, create ladder name. Not seeing any problem, but I don't know. It is fine. Save. Okay, we are going back and looking at that. Okay, this is compiled. We are coming back and just confirming it is compiled. Okay, it is basically compiled. The formula is compiled. Okay. Well, I may not give you this formula because it is the same thing what we did in the person selection. So the formula code, you can just copy it from there. There's not much changes. So I may not put it anywhere. Okay, now I'm going to create now a eligibility profile. Okay, well, I go here in this again. I go to the end. There is something called person eligibility profile. Sorry, eligibility profile. I'm creating it. I'm creating eligibility profile. Create participation and eligibility profile. Okay, I'm again giving it GSP GSP person age. That is what I'm giving it. So the profile type is make it as a compensation. Okay, you have to have a specific assignment. This is more important. Okay, that basically you that okay. It means when the eligibility is profile is evaluated, the assignment is passed from GSP to here. It cannot use any assignment. It has to use the assignment which is passed from GSP to the benefit eligibility. That's what it means. So you have to use that one. Active is fine. Okay. Now when you are coming to here, like you can have whatever you want to have it: personal, employment, tribe factor, relations, everything. You can have it. So since we are not covering about the eligibility profile, our focus is on fast formula. We are just sticking with fast formula option alone. Formula, creating a formula. Okay, my sequence is one. Okay, GSP, eligibility formula. Okay, dates are, you can leave it default. I'm saving it, and closing it. Okay, now the eligibility profile is ready for us. Very simple. Okay, we have a GSP person eligibility is there. So okay, so okay, what we are going to do this, we are going to use that eligibility profile. We attach the eligibility profile into our GSP setup ladder level. Okay. Today, what we are going to look at the ladder level. We are not going to look at that grade level or a step level. We are going to look at only the ladder level. Okay. Probably I haven't said that when we are like introducing it. Okay. Today that the focus is on only the ladder eligibility, not for the steps or uh, grade. Okay. Now let me go here. Okay. Progression ladder. Probably we get okay. We are what are we going to do that? Okay, we use this one. Okay, done. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to edit that. Correct that. Okay, here basically we are going to that uh, progression rules. So we have already we have it. I'm removing that. Sorry, I'm adding a different one. Adding a progression rule. So what we have here is GSP person eligibility. There are many are there. So we are the person eligibility. We are using it. I'm putting it OK. Save. Okay, I saved it. So the ladder level we are putting that. Save and close. Let me go and process the ladder. Okay. Now I go there and run the progression. Let me pick up the customer. Okay, I'm not going to give anything here. We are not going to use a person selection formula like last time using we are testing it. So we leave that blank. Go to the test statement is true. I'm submitting it. Okay. Okay. Last time the person selection is like when we are looking at the person selection first formula, we looked at that into that parent process lock because that is the time that that person selection formula is evaluated. Today we are going to look at that child process. The reason is the ladder is evaluated for every person. Okay, the person selection also basically evaluated for the person, but that doesn't evaluate it in the threading. I mean multi-thread. But that eligibility is evaluated in the multi-thread. So we look the log from the child process. Okay, it is succeeded. Let me look that. Okay, let me look at the log file. I'm going to open the log file. Let me go to the first line of it. Okay, started is the entering eligibility, that is that first formula. Effective date is today date. Assignment ID, we got the assignment ID. Proration date is like there's no probation date, not proration. Sorry, probation date is there is no probation date, so it is coming as a default value. Per grade step sequence is 1, and the step name is 1A. This is exactly what we saw that in that person selection also. So since he is the end date is not above or equivalent to effective date, that's this date, or the sequence is not above 5, so the person is eligible. I don't think anybody is in the grade 5 or anything. So I think this is only 1% part of the ladder. So basically it is working the way we want it, and the evaluation also going fine. Okay, that's all today. In our next session, we see that how do we get that ceiling step ID. Uh, Till then, thank you and bye. If you have any comments, anything, please put it in the comment section. If you like my work, like the video, you know what to do. Okay, thank you. Bye.